Cancer claims, again, can vary because sadly, as we all know, there's lots of different types of cancers, and nobody is exempt from having cancer, sadly, and they say 1 in 2 of us are going to get it. They vary and can be quite difficult in the sense of investigating a cancer claim can be quite hard. The starting point is that inevitably that cancer was always going to be there, and the question may be how quickly should that cancer have been found and investigated. And very often we are involved in cancer cases where there's been an alleged failure to diagnose that cancer. They can, sadly, sometimes there are evidence and we do have to rely heavily upon expert opinion, and we have to show that if that cancer had have been diagnosed sooner, what would the treatment have likely to have been in any event? Because it's inevitable that sometimes you may require exactly the same treatment that you ultimately did end up having. It's when we start talking about longer delays in diagnosing the cancer, when it's more likely than not that perhaps then the treatment becomes greater, and that perhaps you may not have required as much treatment as ultimately you do go on to have. And ultimately, sadly, in some cases, we are able to say that if the cancer had been found and treated sooner, then death may not have occurred. Sadly, in some cases, people do die, not because of the cancer, because of the failure to diagnose that cancer. And it's always quite sad for us in a way when we obtain the evidence and it does show that if the cancer had have been diagnosed and treated sooner, that person may still be with us today, or perhaps their lifespan might have been slightly longer. And I think the difficulty for families is that very often they lose that time and the opportunity to say their goodbyes because it becomes a matter of urgency sometimes, which is the sad part of most of our cases.